Here are the top 3 character traits that I've noticed that make foreigners respected by locals. Across the Philippines, all of Asia, maybe Latin America, this will make it or break it for you. This one's gonna be a hard pill to swallow for many of you foreigners. I hope you take it lightly, and I hope it brings value to you. If you think the locals respect you because you're successful, I don't know, man. Maybe you think they respect you because you're from the West. They don't. I don't know. I don't know how else to make it nicer for you. So let's stop assuming that respect is universal, right? You know, in these cultures, and like many other cultures, it's quiet, it's reserved, and it's earned quietly. So these are my top 3 traits that transcend the language barrier. And I would like to say maybe even culture. Number 1, restraint. If you think you're being direct, they think you're being disrespectful. This is the problem that I have, so I'm working on it. But being direct and respectful is the angle I always go with, right? And a lot of it, after talking to so many Filipinos, it's my tone that really plays into that conflict. You know, that conflict that either can be, the conflict can either be escalated or de-escalated at this point when it comes to tone especially. So I'm sure you know this guy. It could be any foreigner from America, Europe, or whatever. I've been this guy a few times. You know, they're always consistently correcting locals. They're correcting locals, right? As in like interrupting waiters, yelling at guards sometimes, just being a D-bag at the end of the day. And he wonders why his community avoids them, him or her or whatever. It's usually him, to be honest with you. Like, I'm sure you know those guys. Comment below if you know that guy. So, you know, meanwhile, a younger, not so young, different guy, still a foreigner, takes a different approach, right? You know, he rarely speaks, right? He, you know, always nods with respect and helps clean after gatherings, after fiestas. And he takes time to sit down with the local people, sit down with the elders, sit down with everyone, just not other foreigners. If there are any other foreigners in the mix there, they mingle. They, just like in their home country, they're minglers, right? So, you know, this sense of, you know, the principle, the man that can speak has a power to speak up, taking the point of just wanting to listen and get to know everyone is the one that they're going to build trust faster within that Filipino environment. That's something to think about. Restraint. The next time you're out about, you know, parties, malls, gatherings, and things like that. Number 2, respect for roles. I have not seen this level of respect for the hierarchy before, really. You know, obviously in America, even living in Virginia where it's heavily militarized, a lot of military over there, I see a sense of hierarchy there. But, so, if you haven't noticed, in the Philippines, roles are very sacred here. From your lolas, your lolos, atis, kuyas, titas, titos, local leaders, priests. They're held as such a higher regard sometimes. Now, but understand that within this culture, to a good degree, I'm still somewhat like a visitor to some extent. I have to respect the hierarchy here. I have to respect the unspoken hierarchy here. When a foreigner who asks questions instead of barking orders becomes part of the system, not a threat to it. Because anytime you seem as if you're trying to break up and change that social structure, it might become a problem. You know what I'm saying? You tell a staff member, you need to go tell so-and-so they need to do this. But lo and behold, it's their ninang of their wedding, or it's a god's mother of their child, and mind you, they're above them type thing in the hierarchy, you're going to have some problems, to be honest with you. You're going to have some problems. I'll give you a short story. I worked with, I'll name drop here a little bit. John, he runs California Expat, great guy. He's the type of guy that really blends in to the culture. He's probably more Filipino than me, to be honest with you. So he just has that vibe, like one of the guy vibes type thing. He is fair and firm, I have to say. But when it comes to cohesion amongst his teams, he makes sure to say hello to everyone. He makes sure that because of this hierarchical structure, in order to get things done, to be honest with you, John does a really good job at almost leveling the playing field when it comes to respect. I'm like, even me and John are the same in that way, where I'm no better than anyone that's above me, or below me in structure. We are all important in the cogwheel of what we need to do. You have your skill set, I have my skill set. We're just very important to this particular cog of this bigger wheel. And I love John for that, because, he praises people publicly. He knows when things get a little weird, pull people aside or whatever, which I got to give him huge credit for that, to be at the end of the day. Now, and I want to leave it with this. I have never realized it, but respect goes up and down, obviously, with how you're dealing with everyone. But the hierarchy gives you honor. You know what I'm saying? To a good degree, you can take that. You can take the role that you're in. It could be owner, founder, manager, or whatever, and manipulate it. To be honest with you, I would love for you not to do that, but keep the respect up. But understand that the power of the hierarchy is very real here in the Philippines. People are less likely to buck the system per se. They'd rather resign, I'll be honest with you, because they don't like conflict here. Number 3, quiet strength. This is a very big thing here, to be honest with you. Loud leaders impress the West. Calm ones rule the East. So, take that the way you want it. Take that the way you want it. Look into history. Look into how the East conducts himself. Look how the West conducts himself. So, I knew a Australian business owner who panicked during a storm that damaged his resort. A lot of foreigners build and buy resorts here. So he was going crazy, as in what am I going to do? The damages to resort was just crazy. And he yells at the staff, right? He yells at the staff. The locals panic because, the Bisaya term is tarantar, kulbaan, nervous. They're not used to that sense of enraged anxiety, if that's a terminology there. But the locals panic more. The next town over, right? The next town over, okay, this is back in Dumaguete. A Korean manager who maybe to his benefit, maybe because he's Asian, I don't know. But a Korean manager calmly organizes his team. He takes a zoom out approach, right? He takes care of them. He makes sure that they're good. It's a more collaborative approach to the situation, right? He checks on the people's families first, and just read between the lines there. If you want to win in the game here, families are the key, right? And then because of that particular culture, this could be for a different video, utang ng loob, they're going to work. They worked harder and faster for him because he took the chance, or he took the initiative, to do something bigger or more than they expected. So he really got a ton of respect for doing that, right? In times of crisis especially, I notice Filipinos love the fact that they love leaders who stay resilient, stoic, calm, because they know the flip side of that is their counterparts might be going nuts, frantically panicking, So keep that in mind when crisis happens, keep your composure, and that builds your power. That builds your influence. I don't know, it's because I used to be a fighter. I used to compete, like avidly compete. So you're in this moments of constant stress and load all the time. You have no choice, especially if the other guy's job is to punch you in the face or kick you in the face and knock you out, to bring down your, try to calm down so your adrenaline doesn't go crazy. Just staying calm and collected as possible so you can, either get out of being rocked in the fighter sense, or just understand that when situations happen, being able to zoom out, bring in the people that need to be brought in to mediate, to find solutions or whatever, and leading that, and leading that whole entire situation, to make sure that everyone sees you as, man, this guy is super even keeled. So just to recap, restraint builds trust, respect for roles build bridges, and quiet strength builds clarity. So if you want to thrive in a foreign land, be the kind of man they miss when you leave. Don't try to be an alpha, be the anchor. Don't chase attention, earn reverence. And finally, don't overtalk, overserve. Because in the end, no one's going to remember your accent or where you're from. They're going to remember your energy, your silence, and decisions you made when you stepped up.
I miss you. I love you.
I love you too. So if you're living abroad, leading a team, building a business, or just starting a new life, I want to hear from you. I would love for you to be a guest on our podcast right here. Scan this particular code right here and share business, masculinity, culture, mistakes, mindset, legacy. I want to hear all of it at the end of the day. So don't forget to like, leave a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel. If you really loved it, leave a red heart down there.